Welcome to the Creative Plan Podcast Network. Join us as we share our favorite RPGs, one-shot games, tabletop games, reviews of items, and convention panels, and other exciting things that we run into from time to time. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and RPGpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome back to #RPGADAY2018. We are at August the 18th. Describe what art inspires your game. So this is a super simple and a super complicated question all at the same time. Super simple. If it's a fantasy game, the classic van art of the 70s and 80s. You know, the second edition, the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons DM's Guide, the wizard with the fireball with the dragon. You know, the larger than life Conan style artwork, like the Conan cover arts of the comic books. You know, big, strong, rough, gruntled. And I'm a big fan of the just like Sharpie art. You know, it's vague but detailed without being actually detailed. Now, of course, I love a bunch of great artists that are friends. So I have Jessica Feinberg with her dragons. She does amazing dragon work. And, of course, Talia does amazing caricature work, which, you know, we've got quite a few of her pictures that we've commissioned, you know, for the podcast for, like, Dark Vision Dames and a few of the other groups, because every month or so I try to commission something from her because, you know, she does great character artwork. Like, for our High Sea Shenanigans group, she actually drew her Yuan Tai rogue, her pirate captain. And I really enjoy the way that character picture came out. But art inspires art, you know. It's one of those of every RPG book that has art in it is a great inspiration because it fills in the picture. Like, I love the fact that the D&D books from Wizards of the Coast are color now, which is great. But I remember, like, in the 3rd edition where you just got the black and white pictures inside for the most part, and that's still attitude. Or Palladium's Rifts, they have great artists working with them. And it's black and white art, but it's beautiful, detailed artwork. And the art just really makes ideas pop, you know, because a picture really is worth 1,000 words. Throw a picture out there and people immediately go, oh my God, look at that. I mean, it's one of those of just look at, I blank on the artist, but before the movie Dune was actually made, there was an artist that did the art of Dune. And he did an amazing job doing these spacescapes back in the 70s that just looks amazingly detailed, you know, ships, the organic flows of the ships. I'll have to find some links and post them in the show notes, but it's beautiful work. And it's one of those of definitely invest your players into looking for a picture of their character if they have to go to Pinterest or whatnot, because having a picture, even if it's only so like your character, is a great inspiration. And as a GM, if you can, always find pictures of your villains. If you can find a picture of the baddie and show it to the players, you can translate so much information in just the appearance of an art picture. You know, like the group has yet to really see, you know, the picture of the Circus Chimera group has yet to see the picture of the sheriff. You know, even though I described him and he's all oily and slick and weaselly, they get the idea. But I've got this really great picture for when they come to their great confrontation with him, if they ever do, of, you know, him sliding off the horse with his sword and parrying dagger, and just, it's a great picture that I found for inspiration. But, you know, art is a great thing for inspiring your games because you can just look at a picture and it will fill things in. Look at the concept art of the Star Wars books. I loved the Force Awakens concept art book because it showed like 12 different versions of what Kylo Ren could have been before they settled on the final version. And just seeing these pictures tells a story of the progression of what the concepts are and how they whittle it down to finally getting the concept of what they wanted for the final piece. And, art is just a beautiful expression of, so many different things. And if you get lucky in your playing group and you have people that are even, slightly good at art, I mean, I'm like a stick figure guy for the most part, but recommend that they draw, have them doodle, as long as it's not pulling them away from the game. Having character drawings and things like that is amazing. I mean, I've been quite lucky in many of my games where I've got artists that just start doodling while we're playing, and it's just that cathartic, non-focused doodle. So that way when it's their turn, they've been paying attention, they can just jump right back into the action. Or all of a sudden, like Talia will do this in many of our games, where it's not her turn, and she's amazingly knocking out a picture in the middle of nowhere. Like she did this beautiful drawing of the fairy dragon when the group ran into one, because she's just like, what does it look like? And I show her from the monster manual, and she's just doing her version of one, and it just turned out spectacular in like 20 minutes. So if you're lucky enough to have artists, ask them to do doodles for your group. I mean, ask them to draw things. I mean, I rarely, if ever, get to doodle, but I love just doodling random things. I mean, maybe we should throw some pictures of those on the Patreon or something. Like game mats, the game maps that I draw out. Go back, remake the map, make it prettier. I mean, I love doing the tea-stained maps. You draw a map of the countryside, then you drop it in some tea that you've, dark tea that you've brewed, let it soak for a good 10-15 minutes, then stick it outside in the concrete. And you have this beautiful weathered map that curls on its own and crinkles. And for the podcast, of course, it's not great to have the crinkle. But for those of you just doing the regular home games, having something tactile that the group can play with is great. I mean, one of my old D&D games from, over 20 years ago, the group actually took the map that I made for them, because we were constantly adding things in ink, and actually framed the artwork. So it became an actual evolved piece of artwork for the game, and that was wonderful. That was one of those things of, you just realize that, wow, my player group appreciates that because they asked for that at the end of the campaign. Granted, things had kind of changed in the kingdom, but the mere fact that they had that as the, no shit, there we were, this is what the kingdom used to look like. So definitely check out Pinterest, Google artwork, just type in topics that are related to your game and see what comes up, because you will be amazed what art you can find and will inspire you. I mean, there's a meme piece of art out there where it shows this like elf bard on a battlefield with a violin with blood dripping off of it. It's just a beautiful, inspired piece of art for a villain that I actually made. She's basically a necromancer and a bard. Really, really bad character for the characters, because, the fact that she was charming as hell and could raise armies of the dead, but art can inspire these kind of things. I mean, just look at any of the World of Warcraft art. I love when the expansions come out, the compilation art books, you see some amazing art in those. So anytime you can, The Witcher art books, if you can get a hold of those, or the Magic the Gathering ones, Magic the Gathering, there's a huge inspiration right there. I mean, we're talking almost 20 years of Magic the Gathering cards, and they post the art because the art is superbly amazing. And you can just whip out Magic cards, flip through, and find a picture and say, hey, there's your inspiration. So definitely keep your eye out for art. I've rambled. I've got to get ready for some stuff tonight, because I'm going to go do some stuff. And I just got to say, hey, thank you for following. Thank you for listening. Make sure you tweet #RPGADay2018. And enjoy the rest of the month, my friends. All right, guys. And on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Creative Podcast Network, when I post this episode, please put some art in the comments. Let me know what your art is.
Down in the depths of the mountain, we dwarves spend our time forging powerful weapons, mining precious gems and metals, and feasting like kings. But after a day of digging for the next Arkenstone, This dwarf likes to come home to a package full of loot. Dungeon Crate is a monthly subscription box service forged specifically for RPG and tabletop gamers. Miniatures, dice, tokens, coins, maps, modules, terrain pieces, handcrafted items, RPG jewelry, and more are yours for only a few gold per month. You even get a digital crate along with a physical one as an added bonus. So are you brave enough to reward yourself with a Dungeon Crate? By Morden's beard, I hope so. DungeonCrate.com. Let the adventure begin.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.